I remember the moment like it was etched into my soul. The door swung open slowly, but it might as well have been a hammer smashing against my chest. Inside our apartment, our space. Mia was in the arms of someone else. Their laughter was muted, but it cut through me sharper than any word ever could. I stood there, frozen, my breath hitched in my throat, and all I could hear was the relentless thump of my heart against my ribcage. My mind refused to process it, refused to believe that what I was seeing was real, but it was far too real. Mia's voice was calm, detached. Might as well walk away, Alex. Nothing here for you. I couldn't speak. Couldn't even form a response. The betrayal wasn't just the act itself, but her coldness, the way she dismissed everything we had, like it had never meant anything. Her words slashed through my sanity. It wasn't love, Alex. I never truly cared. The weight of her words pressed down on me. Every memory, every touch. 24 months of shared laughter and quiet moments rendered meaningless in the blink of an eye. I felt nothing but emptiness, a void where once there was warmth. I turned away, leaving behind everything that had been mine. The silence was louder than any scream, and with each step I took out of that door, I felt more lost than I ever had before. I walked into the cold night, numb to the world, and the ache settled into my bones, and the ache deepened, morphing into something more unbearable. It wasn't just heartbreak. It was the realization that everything I thought I knew was a lie. The love, the trust, it had all been a facade. Every smile, every whispered promise, shattered like fragile glass beneath my feet. I was alone, truly, completely alone. But even in that darkness, there was a glimmer of something else, a seed of transformation buried beneath the weight of my pain. A slow, agonizing rebirth that would push me toward understanding and, maybe one day, redemption. Every morning begins the same way. I wake up, and before my eyes even adjust to the dim light, it hits me. The weight of what I've done. Betrayal isn't something you can erase from your mind. It clings to you like a shadow, always reminding you of the hurt you've caused. God, I sit up, staring at the empty side of the bed, the space where he used to be, where we used to be. There's nothing but silence now, but it's deafening. My breath catches in my throat as I think back to that night, the way his eyes reflected disbelief, the way his voice shook with pain. And I was the one who did that. I shattered something beautiful into pieces that can never truly be mended. You never cared, the words come back, uninvited, cruel reminders. I try to push them away, but they linger, each one piercing deeper. It wasn't just the act itself, it was the realization of how hollow my feelings were, how driven by fear and insecurity they became. Love, trust, they were illusions I fooled myself into believing I could control. I try to occupy my mind with anything else. Work, social media, even books. But nothing drowns out the memory. It's always there, hovering just beneath the surface, waiting to resurface at the worst moments. Alex's voice echoes sometimes. You walked away like it meant nothing. I wonder if he still thinks about me. If he wakes up thinking of what we lost, or if I faded into nothing more than a passing memory. Part of me hopes that's true, that he's finally free of the mess I left behind. But another part, darker, more desperate wants him to remember, wants him to feel the same ache I do. It's been 2 years, but I still see flashes of him. Moments when his name sneaks into my mind, uninvited and unavoidable. I watch them from a distance now, Alex and Lila, their hands intertwined, laughter spilling out effortlessly. She's everything I wasn't. Kind, patient, understanding. She gives him what I couldn't. And that thought is a blade I carry with me every day. Yet his happiness stings more than it comforts. There's a part of me that envies what they have, envies the peace and trust they've built. Lila's presence in his life is a constant reminder of what I destroyed. It's like she's everything I failed to be, everything he deserved. And it's a hollow comparison to the wreckage I left behind. I can't seem to move past it. Every time they share a moment, I feel it, an ache in my chest that tightens around my breath. I wonder if he ever thinks about me the way I think about him, if my absence ever crosses his mind. or if he's too far removed to feel anything at all. In the quiet moments, when the world stills and the distractions fade away, memories pull me back. I close my eyes and there he is, laughing, sharing dreams of what we could be. Our conversations were intimate, sacred spaces where no one else could touch us. Those moments now feel like a cruel joke. They were real once, but they're ghosts now, haunting hollow memories that refuse to leave. The more I dwell, the more the weight becomes unbearable. I don't want to remember, yet I can't let go. The past keeps me captive, forcing me to relive every word, every touch, every shared moment that now feels meaningless. I keep seeing his eyes, the pain, the disbelief, and it's a torment I can't escape. I wonder if time will ever truly heal these wounds or if I'm destined to carry this burden forever. I watch them from a distance, two people in their own world, a world I no longer belong to, Alex and Leela. Their laughter, their quiet moments, the way they hold hands. It's a reminder of something I used to have, something I destroyed. They have a bond now, a deep connection built on trust and understanding. Lila listens to Alex's struggles, his moments of doubt, and she holds space for him. It's different from what we once had. With her, there's no space for resentment or unresolved pain. Just peace. I see it in the way she touches his arm gently when he's troubled, in the way he leans into her strength. I envy that. I wonder if he ever feels the same emptiness I do, the hollow ache that comes with knowing what once was is lost forever. Yet, as much as I wish to close the gap between us, I know I can't. His world has moved forward, and I'm left behind, clinging to memories that suffocate me. The loneliness is suffocating. It wraps around me like a shroud, pulling me deeper into despair. I spend my nights awake, consumed by thoughts of what I could have done differently. The regret is relentless, a constant reminder of the mistakes I've made, the moments I let slip through my fingers. Every time I see a photo of them together, a smile tightens my chest. I want to reach out desperately to pull him back into my world, but the fear holds me captive. Pride, dignity, it all feels meaningless when the ache of longing outweighs everything. I sit there, my hands trembling, debating the cost of reaching out. Would it be worth the risk? Could I bear the possibility of rejection? The thought is suffocating, but the desire for closure is even more so. I don't know who I'd be if I didn't try to repair the past. If I didn't grasp at some form of redemption. It happens in a moment. One collision of chance. I see him across the crowded cafe, and my heart stops. There's no escape now. I watch as his eyes scan the room, and for a second they meet mine. A flicker of recognition, but no warmth, just cold indifference. The words tumble from my mouth before I can stop them. "Alex," I say, my voice trembling, "I need to talk to you." His face hardens instantly, a wall I can't breach. "There's nothing left to say," he replies, his voice steady, void of emotion. I try to force my way through the silence, but every word feels futile. I just wanted you to know. You don't get to come back here and pretend like everything can be fixed with a few words. He cuts in sharply. You walked away, and it shattered everything we were. There's no going back. Tears sting my eyes, but I hold them back, clinging to the sliver of strength I have left. "I'm not asking for a second chance," I whisper, though it feels like a lie even as the words leave my mouth. "I just want you to understand." Understanding is a dangerous thing. It never comes easily, and sometimes it comes too late. After the confrontation, the weight of my choices settles over me like a suffocating haze. I sit in the same apartment, surrounded by memories that now feel like ghosts. Every corner holds a piece of what was lost, a fragment of what once defined my world. I reflect, not just on what I lost, but who I've become because of it. Redemption isn't simple. It's not a single apology that erases the past. It's the slow process of facing the truth, accepting the consequences, and stepping forward even when the road ahead feels impossibly empty. Meanwhile, Alex moves forward, hand in hand with Lila, a life that no longer includes my presence. And perhaps that's where the true poetic justice lies. Growth comes not from the chance to fix the past, but from the ability to embrace the future, no matter how difficult it may be. Megan Blewett is with someone else. Lila. I didn't even realize the tears had started until the screen blurred in front of me. How could I not see it? Mutual friends had always been the worst kind of whispers, and now they were all confirming it, moving on, happy, together. My world shakes beneath me. The jealousy, the pain, the regret, they all crashed down at once, bearing me in a suffocating weight. I scroll through photos, their laughter, their moments that should have been ours, and I feel my heart shatter into pieces. I was supposed to be the one. We were supposed to be a story worth telling, a love that defied everything. But now, I'm just a shadow in his past, a regret in his story. I sit with my phone in hand, staring at the blank message box. Words I once knew don't come easily anymore. Everything I type feels wrong, false, like a desperate plea to rewrite a past that's already written. Yet, I press send. Hi, Alex, it's me. I saw, heard. I just need to talk. A second stretch into eternity as I wait for a response. Nothing. Just silence. I try again the next day. Another message. Another voicemail. Each attempt feels more futile, more humiliating. I'm met with indifference. A wall that wasn't there before. It's as if I've become invisible. A ghost of the person I used to be. The ache deepens, not just for the love lost, but for the connection that once defined me. One evening, fate has a cruel sense of humor. I step into a cafe, and there they are, Alex and Lila. The world seems to pause, a sick, twisted moment etched in time. My heart races, blood pounding in my ears, as memories flood back like a tidal wave. Every laugh, every touch, every word I long to hear from Alex. I stand frozen, watching them. Lila's hand on his, the way she leans in to speak, every movement feels like a dagger to my soul. I make a decision. I have to say something. Even if it's the last thing I do, I need to speak my truth. Alex, I start, my voice shaking. I couldn't stay away. My breath catches, and I struggle to find the strength to continue. Seeing you with her, it hurts more than I ever thought possible. He turns to me slowly, his eyes calm, unreadable. Mia. I was scared, I rush out, my voice breaking. Scared of losing you, scared of what I'd become without you, so I pushed you away, I ruined everything. The words tumble out, desperate, raw. Tears stream down my face, and I don't care if he sees. I wasn't perfect. I made mistakes. But you were my everything. And now, watching you with her, it's a constant reminder of what I've lost. Lila glances between us, unsure, silent. Alex holds her hand tighter, his gaze steady. It's not that simple, Mia, he says softly. You can't just come back and expect things to be fixed. But I'm trying, I yell, my voice breaking again. I'm trying to fix what I broke. Don't you see? You were my world, and now I'm just lost without you. The room feels heavy with tension, every second stretching into unbearable silence. He doesn't respond immediately, letting the weight of my confession hang in the air. Then with a final glance, he pulls Lila closer, shielding her with his presence. I've moved on, he says finally, and it's time you do too. The finality in his voice is like a razor slicing through what little hope I had left. My knees buckle slightly, and I turn away, my heart shattered anew. There's no room for redemption here. Only the cruel truth that some wounds don't heal, they just scar. The weight of her presence is suffocating. Every glance she gives, every word she speaks stirs something deep within me, anger, regret, confusion. But beneath it all, there's this voice, faint and persistent, reminding me of the love we once shared, the love that made me feel alive, made me feel whole. Yet it feels like a distant echo now, something I cling to out of habit rather than certainty. I remember the moments, the quiet conversations, the warmth in her touch, the promises we whispered to each other in the dark. They haunt me more than her betrayal ever could. I shift uncomfortably in my seat, feeling torn. The anger burns bright, but it's tempered by something softer, something harder to ignore. Sympathy. She looks different now, vulnerable, broken in a way I never imagined seeing. And part of me wonders if she's truly sorry, or if this is just another chapter in her manipulation. The silence stretches between us, heavier than the air itself. She speaks, pouring out her regrets in a torrent of emotion, her voice cracking with every word. And still I sit there, numb, staring into the distance, unable to answer. I don't know if I can, I say finally, my voice a hushed whisper. You broke something in me, Mia. Something I'm not sure can ever be fixed. Her eyes plead with me, desperate for forgiveness, for some hint of understanding. But all I see is the past, the lies, the hurt, and I can't erase it. You were my world once, she murmurs, her voice barely a breath. And now, without you, I feel hollow. The weight of her words presses against me, but I don't know if it's enough. Trust isn't something you rebuild overnight. It takes time, years, maybe. And I don't know if I have that in me anymore. Lila's face flashes in my mind, steady, kind, trustworthy. She never lied, never betrayed me. She gave me a future, something I thought was lost forever. I found something with Lila, I say softly, almost ashamed. Something real, something steady. Tears well up in her eyes, and for a moment I wonder if I'm making a mistake, if I'm choosing comfort over the possibility of redemption. But the thought slips away, replaced by the memory of what she did, and the distance between us feels insurmountable. I understand, she whispers, but I hope someday you'll know the truth. Her voice trembles with finality, and I know this is where we part, truly. This time. There's no turning back, no second chances. The choice is made, and the weight of that decision settles on my shoulders. The sun sets slowly outside the window, casting a warm glow over the quiet room. I sit on the edge of my bed, staring at the framed photo of us, a moment frozen in time, a memory that feels like it belongs to someone else. The weight of what has happened sits heavy on my chest, but so does the clarity that's been building within me. Lila's voice echoes softly in my mind, kind, steady, and patient. She's been the anchor I didn't know I needed, grounding me in moments of doubt and chaos. Every time I think about her, there's a sense of peace, something I haven't felt in a long time. I pull my phone from my pocket, my fingers hovering over the screen. There's a message from Mia, just one word, a plea. Alex. I hesitate, staring at it as if it holds the power to unravel the fragile balance I've worked so hard to create. But I know better now. I can't do this again, I whisper to myself. I type back a simple response. I'm sorry, Mia. I can't go back. The message sends, and for a moment the world seems to pause. The silence stretches between us. No more words left to say. I set the phone down. The decision made. The past has tried to pull me back, tempting, taunting, reminding me of what we once had, but I know better now. Forgiveness is possible, but trust isn't easily rebuilt, not with her. The air feels heavy as I walk through the apartment, each step deliberate, weighted with the reality I've been running from. Memories of laughter, stolen glances, and whispered promises flood my mind. It's like walking through a ghost town. Empty. Hollow. I stop in front of the mirror, studying my reflection. The woman staring back at me is different from the one who once knew love so fiercely. Time has carved its toll, leaving behind a woman who understands the cost of her actions. The message came through, his final words, a gentle yet firm farewell. It's over, really over this time. I run my fingers through my hair, inhaling a shaky breath. There's sadness, yes, but there's also understanding. I broke something too profound to mend with mere words. My pride was my downfall, and now I'm left to accept the consequences. Slowly, I gather my things, packing them into a suitcase that feels heavier than it should. The house feels colder with each passing moment, the silence louder than any noise could be. I take one last look around, etching the memory into my mind, a reminder of where I once was and where I've gone wrong. As I step outside, the weight of the door closing behind me is final. It marks the end of something once beautiful, but also the beginning of something new. Lila's hand brushes against mine, her smile soft and genuine. We sit in our small apartment, the space filled with comfort, not tension. We've built something steady, something real, out of the ruins of my past. Her eyes meet mine, warm and understanding. You've come so far, she says quietly. I nod, my voice steady. You've been my anchor through all of it. We've faced moments that tested our bond, moments when memories of Mia threatened to resurface. But each time we've found a way back to each other. Lila has shown me that love doesn't have to be about pain, about dragging the weight of past mistakes into every moment. We just sit around and talk about my back. Every day, she continues, is a step forward, not just for you, but for us. I take her hand, feeling the truth in her words. Together, we're building a future that doesn't need to rely on old wounds. It's a future where trust is earned, not given, and where love is a choice we make every day, not a memory we hold on to out of. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting shadows across the room, I realize that this is the life I've chosen, a life where healing is possible, where growth is inevitable, and where love isn't weighed down by the past. The room is quiet except for the sound of my breath and the distant hum of the city outside. I sit alone, the walls closing in around me as memories play in my mind like a silent film. Scenes from a life I once knew, a life I tried to hold on to despite its inevitable unraveling. I used to cling to the past, believing it defined who I was. Every mistake, every moment of vulnerability, every broken piece. It all seemed too heavy to move past, but now, as I sit here, I see things differently. Time has a way of stripping away the weight, revealing what really matters. There was a time when my insecurities shaped my actions, when my fear drove me to choices that hurt those I loved. But that's not who I am anymore. I've come to understand that growth doesn't happen in a vacuum. It comes from facing those darkest moments, from feeling the pain and realizing it's not something you carry. A deep breath escapes my lips, steadying the storm inside. I'm not the same person who desperately sought answers in the past. I've learned that redemption isn't about erasing mistakes, but about learning from them. And with that knowledge, I found a quiet sense of peace. The nights are the hardest. They always have been. I lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep, lost in a sea of thoughts, memories that sneak up on me when I least expect them. Mia's face flashes behind my closed eyes, soft and familiar, but distant now. I used to think time would erase her entirely, that moving forward would mean leaving her in the past like a chapter I never want to revisit, but it's not that simple. The truth is, memories don't fade as easily as we hope. They become a part of who we are, woven into our stories whether we want them to be or not. Each passing day with Lila brings moments of clarity. She grounds me, keeps me steady when I feel lost, but even in those moments, when I look at her, I see the spaces where Mia once was, not out of longing, but out of understanding. Closure came, but forgetting never will. The pain has dulled, but the lessons remain. The ones that taught me about trust, about the intricacies of love, and about the strength it takes to let go of what can't be salvaged. Lila's hand slips into mine as we walk through the park. The air is fresh, the sun warm on our faces, and the world feels lighter, free from the weight of unresolved pasts. Together, we've built something strong, something beautiful. Every mistake we've made has become a stepping stone toward understanding. The pain has been a catalyst for growth, and with that growth comes a deeper appreciation for what we have now. Lila and I talk about the future, about dreams we can share, and moments we can create without fear of what once was. Meanwhile, Mia is a memory, a distant echo of a time long gone. Her image fades with each passing day, not from a lack of respect or remembrance, but from a realization that her chapter in my life had to end. Her journey was necessary, a painful one, but one that shaped who I am. Life, after all, is a series of lessons learned, and through evolution and growth, we find strength in the wisdom of our past, using it to build something more meaningful. It's in this realization that we find the true essence of poetic justice, not in punishment, but in transformation.